do you think higher oil prices or oil prices around here is what's going to be with us in the foreseeable future?
Good morning, Jemima, and it's great to be back, especially with you. I think you're right. I think the narrative changed on Friday. I think in recent weeks, as you mentioned, the narrative was oil prices are going to decline compared to last year. Last year, they averaged $80 per barrel. The futures market was looking at somewhere between 70 and 75, and some forecasters were expecting something to 60s and even the 50s. The narrative was the market was going to be oversupplied, and the narrative was that OPEC Plus has lost control of the oil market, and I think that has changed. That has changed in the sense that you have these sweeping U.S. sanctions on Russia that could impact supply. You have the incoming Trump administration, which could impose maximum pressure on Iran and reduce Iranian oil output further. And if you get a scenario in which you have significant reductions from these two countries, then the overhang in the oil market might disappear as a result of these.
It sounds to me like the Trump administration is doing the OPEC Plus group a solid here. What they've been trying to do is boost prices by taking barrels off the market. And it's been successful. It's supporting prices, so to speak, at around $70. But to get to 80, that only happened with the externality of the Trump administration and Biden administration sanctions.
Yes, so a lot of OPEC members have needs for high oil prices. If you think about, for example, Saudi, one of the biggest two OPEC Plus members, its reliance on oil has never been stronger. So it needs oil at near $100 per barrel to balance its budget, and it needs oil at $80 per barrel to fund its imports and out its remittances. Both of these numbers are higher than anything that we've seen, at least in the last decade. So yes, higher oil prices, that's coming through supply cuts, that you don't have to agree within OPEC Plus and you have compliance within the members, does help some of these countries for sure.
Yeah, and people said that the level in the sand that the Saudi energy minister looks for, I mean, he'll never say it out loud, is around $80 for oil to be around 80. I thought it was really interesting. Yesterday, our colleague Javier Blas put out a Bloomberg opinion piece suggesting that U.S. imports of Saudi crude are at a multi-decade low now because they've become a lot more self-reliant, self-dependent because of the shale industry and also the rise in the Canadian oil industry as well. What does that mean for Saudi Arabia's influence on global oil markets if the U.S. are more independent now?
It's still influential. So Saudi produces now about 9 million barrels per day. It has capacity of 12 million barrels per day. In an oil market that consumes 100 million barrels, that's 9 to 12%. So it's still influential whether the oil is going to the U.S. or going to Asia. This stuff matters. I think where it has an influence is on the geopolitics of the region. One of the strategic sort of targets for the U.S. in the region was the continuous flow of oil. And if the U.S. becomes more self-dependent, then basically that reinforces what's always wanted to do, which is to pivot from the Middle East to Asia and face off with the rising power of China.